Hello, welcome to Bridge of Stars. These episodes are made to support us, to support me and you, and anyone who wants to drop by as we walk across our Bridge of Stars, as we make a transition from an old world to a new way of doing things, which is being encouraged perhaps by Mother Nature, who wants us to change and develop and think again about how we've been doing things. And it's not a punishment, it's an opportunity to reevaluate our lives, our spiritual way of doing things, our thoughts about what we do, our emotions, the way we share with each other, and the practical things that we do. So all those four levels have got opportunities for change, and we see this in governments around the world changing their approach to all kinds of things. Here in the UK, the homeless have been supported and the care homes are being revised because the system that we had was so clunky and inefficient and uncaring, not care homes at all sometimes. So here we are in the middle of this maelstrom of change, and we need to keep our feet firmly on the bridge, saying, let's make sure the planks that we walk on, or the planks that look wobbly, are reinforced in some way. And that each time we walk further across our bridge, we're putting down planks as we go. We are actually making it up as we go along. And in order to do that, we need to check in with the higher wisdom, whatever wisdom that we can draw on from past teachers, from mystics, and from insights or channeling of various kinds. So this is my personal offering, because I've been working with this angelic energy, the angelic realms, for many, many years. And so most days, most episodes, I'm sharing with you characters from these ancient alphabets that I've worked with for so many years. So one of the alphabets was called the writing of the Malachim, the writing of the angels. And I channeled the messages from it, as you probably know if you've watched previous episodes, for a series of insights and inspirations, one for each character in that alphabet. There are 23 characters in the writing of the Malachim. And then later in my life, about 10 years later, I was drawn to work with another alphabet called the celestial writing. And this was what triggered the insights, the inspiration to deliver a new kind of healing modality called Shefa healing. And that celestial writing, the Shefa healing characters, there are 22 of those. The potential reason for that is a bit complicated and not time to go into it here. But the reason I just recapped over that bit of history of my work is because today I was inspired to introduce first not a character from the angel script, but a character from the Shefa healing group. And it was quite interesting how it happened, because when I choose a character, I've used different ways of doing it. Sometimes I've just spread the cards and chosen it blind. Sometimes I'll look through them and think, yes, that's the right one. Or something will pop up into my mind. And today I went to the Bridge of Stars book, which I always bring in at the end, to find a good prayer or meditation that we could have for today. And when I'd read it and said, yes, that's the right one, I immediately thought, I've got to use a particular character from the Shefa healing characters. So this is what it is. The Shefa healing character cards, you can see, are much smaller. They have been made specifically for people who come on healing training. They're not for sale. People who learn the Shefa method with me will learn about all these characters, but these particular set of cards is made for healers. So what have we got? What was the inspiration that came to me today? Okay, so here it is. It's called Inner Wisdom, and you can see it says Vor. So that's the name of the Hebrew letter, just as the angel script characters are also named after Hebrew letters. So what have we here? Inner wisdom. Right. So we have a solitary line of light, and right at the top, and one single orb. And that says it all, really. It's almost like you can think of that as your own body. You could think of that as the capacity that every human being has to bring that light energy into the arena of the actual physiological body, into the brain. That's what happens with the awakening of the top chakra. The light pours in. It's an actual happening. And I know that because it happened to me. And once that light comes in, the wisdom and the knowledge that can pour in with it is immense. And then we have to say, how do I bring this into the world? How do I practice this? How do I share it? And that's why I've been doing this work all these years since it happened to me. I've been trying to find ways of sharing it and gifting it as much as possible. But each of us it's a privilege to have an experience like that, a huge privilege. But it's not just for one person. It is for anyone who seeks wisdom. And that's what I try to bring through the Shefa healing teachings, that you can dedicate yourself to finding that wisdom. And we do that through various practices. Meditation is obviously the practice that I can offer through the Shefa method, but layered in with that are the other practices, whatever you choose for the body, for your yoga or your Pilates, or attending to special dietary practices, and also spreading your understanding through your mind. You might write something, you might talk about something, you communicate it, you get the wisdom, then you communicate it, and then you share it in some way. That's the heartfelt compassion, the emotional side of this. So it's not just some amazing inspiration, because after that inspiration, things have to come down to the ground. And that brings me to showing you the angel script character, which is also called Vor. Now, the thing here is that we have these two alphabets of characters, the angel script characters and the Shefa healing characters. And when you overlap them and put them together, you see how they resonate with each other, even though they are different shapes. So the character for the angel script, let me just take that one away. The Vor is one that we've talked about before in this series, is the gift. So we have an orb of light at the top and an orb of light at the bottom, and then we have almost like a shower of gifts coming down. And if you saw the earlier episode where Vor came up, I was talking to you about how that light can come down and share itself through these three different aspects. So that comes back to what I was just saying. The orb of light at the top is the inspiration that you get at the top of this little character. And then the shower of light comes down in things that you do with your mind, with communication, things that you do with your heart, with sharing, things that you do at a practical level. So those are the 3 other levels that you can share. That is a really good way of looking at it. So this message that comes through inner wisdom and the gift, both of which are called Vor in the Hebrew alphabet, is telling us the gifts are there for you. The inspiration and the inner wisdom is there for you. Just, allow it to come through, because it's a birthright for us. It's free. I will charge you something for learning the Shefa method with me, but that's, in order for me to run things. But it is available to anyone, really. And I personally would never allow a financial issue to get in the way of me teaching somebody. So it's there for you. And I would also say that, there are other ways. You don't have to do the Shefa method with Theolyn. There are other ways to access this wisdom, and there are other pathways. But this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the direct inspiration that comes through us, and then we are looking to bring it into the world, to share it, to participate in this world. So we are not looking for the kind of wisdom that you get by just staying in a cave on the mountaintop, or only retreating into some kind of exclusive community somewhere in the desert, or whatever it is, in a monastery or whatever, and excluding the world. We are definitely wanting to bring this into the world, into the very ordinary, everyday world. And by doing that, we transform the world through our being in the world. That's what we can give back to the world, instead of taking always from the world. So that was a little change from the way things usually arrive in these episodes. And now I'm going to go back to the Bridge of Stars and find that prayer that I found, which prompted me to get the inner wisdom. It's called A Still Place. And it says it's a prayer from Malling Abbey in Denmark. So it doesn't tell us how old it is, but I assume that it's quite an old prayer by the language. Make me a still place of light, a still place of love of you. Your light radiating, your love vibrating, your touch and your healing far flung and near, to the myriads caught in darkness, in sickness, in lostness, in fear. Make a heart centre here, light of the world. So the prayer is asking for the supplicant to become like the inner wisdom card, a place of light, and a light that can be flung far and near, and therefore spread out to myriads who are caught in darkness, in sickness, in lostness or fear. So that's what the prayer is asking for. Bring the light through me as a supplicant. I'm willing to do that, to bring that light, and then I'm willing to fling it far and near for the benefit of people who may be suffering in sickness and in fear. make a heart centre here, light of the world. Be joyful. When we step into joy, any pain and suffering is burnt away, it just shifts. So stay joyful.